Pardon?
Do you want one short witness?
That'd be great. State call your next witness.
And your Honor, state calls Deputy Siniscal.
Siniscal, Deputy Siniscal. Good morning, Deputy. If you'll come forward for me, please, right to the front here, and raise your right hand. The clerk will administer the oath to you, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right, Deputy, if you'll come right around this way for me and have a seat in the witness chair. Thank you, sir. Good morning. And if you just get yourself comfortable, and you can adjust that microphone as you need, speak directly into it, and keep your voice up so we can hear you. Ms. Wolfson?
Good morning, Deputy. Could you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Carmine Siniscal, Siniscal.
Deputy, where are you currently employed?
Brevard County Sheriff's Office,
How long have you worked for Brevard County Sheriff's Office?
7 years.
Do you have any prior law enforcement prior to being at Brevard County Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
And could you tell the jury what that is?
I have over 14 years with Melbourne Beach Police Department and 11 years with a department, Bricktown in New Jersey.
Now, Deputy Siniscal, at Brevard County Sheriff's Office, what is your current position?
Patrol.
Are you assigned to a particular zone or area of Brevard County?
Yes, I am.
And what zone is that?
It's a 62 zone.
Could you describe for the jury what area of Brevard County that is?
It's south of the Space Center.
And Deputy Siniscal, just to give some sort of reference, could you also describe to the jury where Brevard County is in relation to Duval County?
It's about 167 miles south.
And approximately how long then of a drive is that?
Close to 3 hours.
Now, Deputy Siniscal, I'd like to turn your attention back to November 24th of 2012. Were you working on patrol that day for Brevard County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I was.
And what shift were you working?
62 zone, which is from O'Galley Boulevard down to 5th Avenue, that's Satellite Beach, and down to 5th Avenue and in the Atlantic.
And were you working a certain range of hours that day?
10 hours.
Okay, and what time did you come on duty?
Just a moment, please. All right, sorry, Ms. Wilson.
And Deputy, I believe my last question was, what time did you come on duty that day?
6 in the morning.
During your shift, did you eventually come into contact with someone later identified to you as Michael Dunn?
Yes, I did.
Do you see Michael Dunn here in court today?
He's sitting at the defense table.
And could you describe something he is wearing?
He has a maroon sweater, a white shirt, and a maroon tie.
I'm sorry, let the record reflect the deputies identified the defendant.
Now, how is it that you ended up getting involved with someone by the name of Michael Dunn?
It was passed on to me by Sergeant Harold, who was on the night shift that morning.
And what did you learn, I guess, from your conversation with Sergeant Harold?
That we had a person in our area that was wanted in Jacksonville.
Did you learn at some point what the defendant was wanted for?
Yes.
Let me back up, actually. Was the person who was wanted Michael Dunn?
Yes.
Okay, and did you learn eventually what he was wanted for?
Yes.
Did you also learn at some point that an arrest warrant had actually been issued for him out of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I did.
And what was that arrest warrant for?
Murder and attempted murder.
Now, Deputy, is a warrant for murder and attempted murder considered a high-risk arrest warrant?
Yes.
Could you explain to the jury what that means?
That means there's a likelihood that some type of danger or assault could happen on the person serving that warrant.
And based on the nature of that warrant, then, do you as the deputy take extra precautions in serving that arrest warrant?
Yes.
Now, that morning on November 24th of 2012, did you ever speak with any members of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office?
Detective Moser?
Detective Musser?
Musser.
Sound familiar? And did
Yes.
you learn then that he was a homicide detective from Jacksonville Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
When you spoke with him over the phone, were you able to get pertinent details to the whereabouts of the defendant?
That information was given to my sergeant at the time, Sergeant Siniscal, and they worked out the details.
Okay, and Deputy, at some point that morning then, did you respond to 257 Oceans Residence Court in Satellite Beach?
Yes, I did.
And is that address then within your zone?
Yes, it is.
Who all did you respond to the scene with?
I went with the Sergeant Siniscal, and Quintana, Deputy Quintana.
Okay, so Quintana then is another deputy?
Yes.
Within your force? Now, when you all arrived on scene, did you have a plan in play for how you were going to approach the residents?
Yes, we did.
Could you explain to the jury what that plan was?
Deputy Quintana was to the rear of the residence. I was to the southwest corner there's a clump of condos. And the sergeant was to the northwest corner of the condos.
And Deputy, I'm showing, it should be up on your screen, State's Exhibit 98. Is there a photograph in front of you?
Yes,
And is this then a photograph of the condos that you were just describing to the jury?
yes.
Could you put an X on the approximate location then of where you were, if it's on the screen?
An X?
Actually,
Yes,
sir, if
you
you
can touch.
touch the screen, put some pressure on it, you can actually
Oh, okay.
draw on that screen. There you go.
I was there. Sergeant would be further north of that, like out of this actual photograph.
And could you, just to reference the jury, could you explain to the jury if north would be to the right or to the left of where you
The
are?
north would be to the left, towards 257 would be the north, and 259 would be the south.
Okay. And then in this picture as well, then where would Deputy Quintana have been?
She was to the rear of the condos itself, the ocean side.
Okay. Now, when you arrived on scene, did you all have any sort of firearms on you?
Yes, we did.
And what did you yourself have with you that morning?
I had an AR-15.
And was that because of, as you explained to the jury, it's a high-risk arrest warrant?
Yes,
Now, Deputy, once you arrived on scene, did you actually then make contact with the defendant over the
Yeah.
phone?
yes,
Okay, and when you called him over the phone, did you then give him specific orders about how to come out of the house?
yes, I did.
And could you tell the jury what those orders were that you gave him that morning?
I told him to come out without the shirt on and his hands in the air,
And why did you ask the defendant to come out without his shirt on?
because I wanted to see in his waistband to make sure there was no weapons there.
Now, after you spoke with the defendant over the phone, did he then come out of this complex?
Yes, he did.
And did he actually come out of 257?
No,
Did he come out of a unit, several units down?
yes,
And did you later learn that that was actually a neighbor's unit?
yes.
What happened? What did the defendant do when he came out of that unit?
He complied, he came out with his hands up, and Sergeant Siniscal ordered him to his knees.
And once he was on his knees, Deputy, did you and Deputy Quintana then handcuff him?
Yes, we did.
And is that normal procedure when an arrest warrant has been issued?
Yes,
Once the defendant was handcuffed, did you then place him in the back of your patrol car?
after I searched him, he was placed in the back of my vehicle.
And eventually then, Deputy, did you transport the defendant to the West Precinct office of the Brevard County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I did.
Did you have any contact then with Jacksonville homicide detectives?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. Once the defendant was at the West Precinct, then did you turn him over to other personnel from your staff?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Mr. Strolla, any questions?
Yes, Your Honor, please. Deputy Siniscal, how are you, sir?
I'm good, and you?
Good. Now, again, high-risk situation, you don't know Mr. Dunn, correct?
Correct.
Never met him before.
Never.
And in your line of work, it'd be very dangerous trying to take someone like that into custody.
Yes,
Bad things happen all the time when you try to arrest somebody, don't they?
yes,
People don't like it. Would you agree?
Oh, I agree.
Okay. Some people get violent.
Yes.
Some people shoot at officers. None of that
Yes.
happened with Michael Dunn, did it?
No.
Matter of fact, were you on the phone with him?
Yes.
And when you talked to him, what did he say?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Let me ask you
Sustained.
this. Let me rephrase it. Based on your conversation, did Mr. Dunn comply with your orders?
Yes.
Did he show any signs of disrespect to you?
No.
Any type of anger towards you?
No.
Any type of violence, verbal violence towards you?
No.
Did he do exactly what you asked him?
Yes, he did.
He removed his shirt.
Yes.
He came outside.
Yes.
And he actually came outside from his neighbor's house, correct?
Yes.
And you took a sworn statement of that neighbor, correct?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, outside the scope.
Sustained.
Let me ask you this. Based on your investigation and based on what you witnessed, did Michael Dunn ever show any signs of violence towards law enforcement?
No.
Any type of disrespect?
No.
Any type of anger?
Objection, ask and answer.
Sustained.
At any point prior to him being ordered to the ground, did he follow everything you asked of him?
Objection, ask and answer.
Sustained.
Did he do everything Sergeant Siniscal ordered him to do?
Yes.
When you took him and put him in handcuffs, any issue there?
No.
No signs of violence or resistance when you put him in handcuffs?
Objection, ask and answer.
Sustained.
Is there anything that you can recall Mr. Dunn did in your presence that showed any type of resistance or violence?
Objection, ask and answer.
Judge,
Sustained.
how long were you with Mr. Dunn?
May I look at my
If you
report?
need to refresh your recollection, please do.
Approximately an hour and a half.
And that you were with Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
And in that hour and a half, no issues?
No.
Complied with everything you asked of him?
Objection, Your Honor, ask and answer.
I'll let him ask that last one. Go ahead, Detective.
Did he comply with everything that was asked of him by yourself or your agency in that hour and a half period?
Yes.
Now, you had contact with Miss Rhonda Rower, is that correct?
Objection, outside the scope.
Sustained.
Well, let me ask you this. Isn't it true that there was contact with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office out at that house?
Yes.
Okay. And that's while you were there as well?
I came back at one point to relieve someone, I believe.
And that's when you met Detective Musser?
I'm not sure if I met him or not.
Okay, but
There
Jacksonville...
were people there. I don't know if I actually met him. I don't recall.
Okay. There were, though, detectives from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office there?
Yes.
And Miss Rhonda Rower was there?
I don't recall seeing her then.
Do you want to look at, would it refresh your recollection, look at page 3 of your report?
She was there on,
Hang on. Oh,
Objection, Your Honor, this line of questioning is once again outside the scope of the job.
Sustained.
One moment, Judge.
Sure.
Did you do anything else in terms of Mr. Dunn in that hour and a half? Other than what you've already testified to here?
I wrote the arrest report, the 92301, the probable cause affidavit.
Okay, and that was based on the warrant for the murder in Jacksonville?
Correct.
Okay, and at that point, you weren't going to let Mr. Dunn go?
No.
You weren't going to ask him his side of the story because it was out of Jacksonville, correct?
Correct.
Nothing further, Judge.
Anything, Ms. Wilson?
Just briefly, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Deputy, when the defendant came out of the house, was he surrounded by law enforcement officers with assault rifles?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Judge.
Maybe
Just very briefly?
all right. That's going to be one question, right?
Yes. How many officers actually were there to arrest Michael Dunn in terms of the physical takedown?
3.
Okay. So that was he was surrounded by 3 officers?
Now, Mr. Stroller,
So I
I
just
said
want to
one
clarify.
question, didn't I?
Sorry, Judge, one extra question then if I may.
And now you just repeated what he already said.
I just want to make sure that was the total there, Judge.
I think the man said 3.
All right.
But I'm gonna let you ask one more question.
Last question, was that the total officers there arresting Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Judge.
Thank you.
Nothing
May he be
further.
excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wolfson. Thank you, Deputy. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, let me see, Ms. the Counsel and that side.